Why would the government want to exterminate you and your entire family? That is exactly what happened during the Holocaust. The Holocaust was a systematic mass murder of over 6 million people, particularly the Jews. It was executed by Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. They were pressured on by their extreme nationalistic pride, accompanied with intense hatred of Jewish people and a strong desire for ethnic cleansing. Hitler was driven by his appetite for ethnic cleansing. He wanted to get rid of all the races that were inferior to him, which meant all the races that were not Aryan. He especially wanted to get rid of the Jews. He saw them as parasites who went from place to place around the world and made themselves unwelcome. He also went after disabled people and the mentally handicapped. Because they weren't able to work or fight in the army, he labeled them as useless eaters and said they were life unworthy of life. He initiated a T4 program to get rid of these people. He also went after the Roma, or gypsies. These people did not meet the racial standards put forth by Nazis and therefore suffered the same fate as the Jews. All in all, by the end of the Holocaust, 220,000 Roma had been murdered. The Nazi genocide was fueled by intense hatred of Jewish people. Many Germans blamed World War I on the Jews. They said it was a conspiracy that the Jews had used to overthrow Germany. This is not true, for many Jews fought on Germany's side, and the Jews were doing very successful in German businesses. This especially enraged Hitler, who had to portray them as the opposite. He banned the Jews from for holding certain job titles, such as being a doctor or a law attorney. The laws continually got stricter until they hit Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass. Here, Jewish shops were looted and vandalized, and the synagogues were burned down. The police did nothing to intervene, and the Jews were charged a 1 billion Reichsmark fine, which is about $7.5 billion in today's money. For all the Jews that remained, this was a critical sign of what was to come, and for many, it was too late. Finally, persecution of the Jews was intensified by the Nazi Party's extreme nationalistic pride. They believed, as Aryans, that they were the superior race, and all races beneath them were inferior and must be wiped out. They believed that the Jews were not human, more like animals. They were depicted with a hooked nose and almost ape-like. This was taught to children in the classrooms because this was their formative years. The children were taught about how the Arabs were superior, and all the Jews and Romas in the class were ridiculed in front of them, and the bullying of them was encouraged. Eventually, these children would be kicked out of school, just as their parents were kicked out the workplace. It's important to remember the Holocaust, because we are prone to repeat it. In Genesis 8:21, it states that man's heart is sinful above all things. This coincides with multiple scientific tests and experiments, such as Milgram's experiment. In this experiment, the experimenter hires somebody to be his assistant, while in reality he is the person being researched. He also hires an actor to pretend to be a person being researched on a lesson on word studies. The teacher is told to ask questions to the actor. The, ac- the actor will intentionally answer the questions wrong. The teacher will then administer a shock, starting at 15 volts every time he gets it wrong. Every time he gets it wrong, the shock will also increase by 15 volts. Once the voltage hits around 150 volts, the actor will begin to protest and say that hurts. If the teacher is asked to stop, then the experiment will attempt to go on because the experiment depends on it. The act, all, all in all, 2/3 of the people tested will go all the way up to 450 volts, which is far more than enough to kill a person. Milgram stated that if you were to go to any medium-sized town in the United States of America, you would find enough person to operate a Nazi death camp. This shows that under the wrong influence, we are very easily deceived into doing the wrong thing. We need to make sure that a lot of power does not get into the hands of one or very few people. We must never allow something like the Holocaust to happen again.